we're searching for the light. And through all the stories they whisper in the night. From the courtroom to the street, from the paper to your screen, we uncover what they hide and reveal what truth means. No fear in our voice, no filters in our face. We stand for what is right in every time and place. Avalanches.
Take one more tweet. And Al-Amin says, Peter Obi is yet to publicly mourn the passing of former President Buhari. The North notices and we will remember. Hashtag PMB funeral. It is important to know that we don't know what he's going to do in the coming days, and he did pay his condolences via social media.
Well, Peter Obi is known for showing empathy over and over and over again. That he did not attend that particular burial should explain to me, or people that think like me, that there must have been something else that he had to give attention to. However, he did the needful on social media, and if I know him, I think he will look for a day and go see Buhari's family. And that's just it. People can think of so many other things to say about him not being there and connected to politics and so on. He's a politician, so everything he does would be connected to politics.
And then for the story on Peter Obi not going to Katsina State, he was in Ogun State. Recall that the Awujale passed, and so he was there, I think yesterday or the day before, yesterday I think, to pay his last respect to the families, and he signed the register. He was not there alone. He went with some other party members to pay their last respect to the late Awujale and his family. So I believe that was why he was unable to go to Katsina. I am not standing in for him, but from what I saw in recent, just yesterday, I think that must have been the reason why he did not go to Katsina, and might make time out to pay his condolences to the family of the late president. So people should just allow him be. Yes, he's a politician, but he has a life and need to plan his life the best way he can. He can't be doing things to please people. It must be comfortable with him before he thinks of others.
Absolutely.
And just to pick up from there, he cannot separate himself into two different people. If he was somewhere, there's no way he would have been there. And I feel like the pressure sometimes on him is quite a lot, because he's not there and social media is going, oh, where is he? Why is he not there? There may be so many reasons or so many factors why he cannot make it. And I don't think that should be a big deal, as long as he came out and, you know, he gave the condolences to the family, like he put it on social media and we saw that. So I think we need to ease a little bit when it comes to Peter Obi.
Mr. Peter Obi has finally paid his condolence visit to late President Muhammadu Buhari. Mr. Peter Obi, who was in company of former Kaduna State Governor Malam Nasir El-Rufai, Atiku Abubakar and other dignitaries. Yesterday was late Muhammadu Buhari's burial, and Mr. Peter Obi was not in attendance. And as usual, the mischievous elements who have no other job but are being paid to constitute nuisance online ran a narrative about Mr. Peter Obi missing in late President Muhammadu Buhari's burial. They ran all manner of rhetorics, but alas, today Mr. Peter Obi has finally paid a visit to late President Muhammadu Buhari. It is so pathetic, the kind of politics we play in our country. Politics of character assassination, politics of destruction. A former president died, and rather than reflecting on his time and legacy he left behind, we are playing politics with it, looking at who attend and who did not attend. It is not a must that Mr. Peter Obi should attend President Muhammadu Buhari's burial. When he was alive, Mr. Peter Obi and President Muhammadu Buhari did not share anything in common. They were never seen together. They have never crossed paths together. For the fact that he was a former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria does not mean he represents the interests of Mr. Peter Obi. But as you can see, majority of the people that attended that burial yesterday attended it because of photo ops. They attended it because of optics. They attended it because they want to use it to campaign. Not because they care so much about President Muhammadu Buhari. Not because he means so much to them. Or not because he was a good man. And I'm so happy that Mr. Peter Obi did not attend that burial yesterday. Of course, there is nothing memorable about the death and burial of President Muhammadu Buhari. He's dead and gone. His death isn't important than the thousands that died when he was president. We are talking about the innocent shields, that were murdered in cold blood under President Muhammadu Buhari regime. We're talking about the 100 that died in North Central due to Fulani herdsmen menace. We're talking about the Boko Haram insurgents. We are talking about the innocent Igbo people that died when he sanctioned the Operation Python dance in the southeast. We are talking about the innocent people that died during the EndSARS protests. The October 20, 2020 Lekki massacre, which was carried out under his very nose and order. And there's so many Nigerians that have died due to poor leadership that occurred ever since APC came into power in 2015, which was pioneered by the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. The death of President Muhammadu Buhari is not more important than these Nigerians. But you know, in Nigeria, we are so much of emotional than logical. They want people to remember President Muhammadu Buhari for who he was not. They want Nigerians to feel emotional about a man that felt no anthem of emotion when he was president. This man ruled for 8 years. And in 8 years under his administration, it was disaster. It was a colossal failure. Nigerians were eating from hand to mouth. Nigerians were in pains. Nigerians were in penury. But now he's no more. The only legacy he left was a sore taste on the mouths of Nigerians. But yet they want Nigerians to eulogize him, to sing high praises to him. If you look carefully, you will understand that the people that are eulogizing President Muhammadu Buhari are those that were serving in his government, those that benefited from the corruption that was going on in his government, those that benefited from the crumbs that fell out from his table. I mean, these guys want to change the narrative. They want to whitewash a president that we all experienced his bad administration 10 years ago. A president that even the incumbent, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is even admitting that he inherited a battered economy. He inherited that battered economy from President Muhammadu Buhari, but they don't want Nigerians to complain. They don't want Nigerians to celebrate the death of a man that plunged them in miseries. And yet, if you don't attend the burial, you are seen as a political enemy. And they're even saying that the North will not vote for anyone that did not attend the burial of President Muhammadu Buhari. The North will remember. They not always remember when it comes to election, but they don't remember insecurity. They don't remember poverty. They don't remember out-of-school children. They don't remember the diseases. They don't remember economic sabotage. They don't remember illiteracy that is so high in the North. They don't remember poverty that is ravaging them in the North. They always remember when it comes to voting competent leadership. That was the reason why they voted for President Muhammadu Buhari, a colossal failure. And that was also the reason why they supported Bola Ahmed Tinubu, another colossal failure. When Muhammadu Buhari became Nigeria's president in 2015, people had high hopes. He was sold as a no-nonsense general who would fight corruption, fix the economy, and crush insecurity. Nigerians, being sold with a lot of propaganda, were fed up with Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's so-called weak leadership. They thought that President Muhammadu Buhari was the answer. They were wrong. They were dead wrong. President Buhari's 8 years in office were a masterclass in failure, turning Nigeria, a country once hailed as Africa's biggest economy and the world's third fastest growing economy, into a mess of poverty, violence, debt, and despair. Before President Muhammadu Buhari took over in office in 2015, Nigeria was a rising star. The economy was Africa's largest, growing at a blistering 7% annually, among the top 15 globally. Buhari inherited a nation with promise, but by the time he left in 2023, he had dragged it into the mud. Two recessions, 2016 and 2020, hit Nigeria like a sledgehammer. GDP per capita plummeted by nearly 40%, erasing years of progress and throwing millions into abject poverty. By 2023, over 133 million Nigerians were multidimensionally poor, living on less than $1 a day. That is not leadership, that is destruction. Buhari's economic policies were a disaster. He clung to outdated ideas like keeping the naira artificially strong, ignoring the International Monetary Fund advice to let it float. The result, the naira lost 70% of its value against the dollar, crashing from about 200 naira per dollar to over 750 naira per dollar by 2020. Inflation soared to a back-breaking 24.66%, with food prices skyrocketing. And there's the Anchor Borrowers Program, where the Central Bank of Nigeria threw over 800 billion at farmers to boost agriculture. That sounds good, right? But it was wrong. The program was a flop, riddled with repayment issues and corruption. Food insecurity worsened. Buhari's borders closure in 2019 meant to stop smuggling backfired horribly. It choked trade, spiked prices, and alienated neighbors. Buhari didn't just fail the economy, he burned it to the ground. Buhari, touted as a former general, was supposed to be Nigerian security savior. He vowed to crush Boko Haram by December 2015. Instead, he left Nigeria more dangerous than ever. Boko Haram wasn't defeated, it sprayed. By 2023, the insurgency was still active, joined by new threats, bandits in the northwest, separatists in the southeast, and deadly farmer-header clashes in the middle belt. Over 15,000 people die yearly on average from violence during his tenure. Kidnapping became a business model, with criminals snatching schoolchildren and demanding millions in ransom. Buhari response: weak, absent, or just plain clueless. His claim that Boko Haram was technically defeated in 2015 was a sick joke. Attacks continue, and groups like ISWAP and Ansara grew stronger, even running parallel government in some areas. In the southeast, his heavy-handed crackdown on IPOB and Nnamdi Kanu fueled violence, not peace. After Kanu's illegal abduction in 2021, the region spiraled into chaos, with hundreds killed. Farmer-header clashes, often involving Buhari's own Fulani king, were mishandled. An accusation of bias judging him. His grazing reserve plan was rejected as a land grab scheme, further inflaming tensions. The military, underfunded and overstretched, couldn't keep up. Airstrike meant to hit bandits kill civilians. Meanwhile, Buhari's government paid lip service to security, funneling billions into security votes that vanished into thin air. Nigerians felt abandoned, left to fend for themselves as bandits roam free. Buhari's military background was supposed to be his strength. Instead, it exposed his incompetence. He didn't just fail to secure Nigeria, he failed it at war zone. Buhari's appetite for borrowing was insatiable. When he took office, Nigeria's debt was 42 trillion naira. By 2030, it had ballooned to a crippling 77 trillion. That is a staggering four-fold increase. Domestic debt jumped from 8.8 trillion to 44.9 trillion naira. And external debt soared from $7.3 billion to $37.2 billion. Worst of it, 96% of Nigerians' revenue was gobbled up by debt servicing, leaving almost nothing for schools, hospitals, or road. He even asked for an $800 million bank loan just weeks before leaving office, as if the country wasn't drowning in debt already. The CBN under President Muhammadu Buhari ally Godwin Emefiele printed 25 trillion naira through ways and means financing, fueling inflation and wrecking the naira. States couldn't pay workers, and 33 out of 36 states were broke. Their economies in tatters. Buhari's reckless borrowing didn't build a better Nigeria. It built a debt trap that will choke the future generations. He spent like a drunk seller with nothing to show for but empty promises and a broken nation. He was not even treated in Nigeria while he was sick. He was treated in a faraway land and died in a faraway land. What a shame. Buhari promised to respect the rule of law, but his presidency was a masterclass in repression. He trampled on human rights like they were nothing. The 2020 EndSARS protests, where young Nigerians demanded an end to police brutality. Security forces gunned down on armed protesters in Lagos. Buhari's silence was deafening, and no one was held accountable. The 2021 Twitter ban, after the platform deleted Buhari's inflammatory tweet, was a direct attack on free speech. The ECOWAS court later ruled it illegal, but Buhari didn't care. Buhari's disdain for judiciary was blatant. He ignored court orders, like the one to release Nnamdi Kanu, whose illegal rendition in 2021 was condemned globally. The 2015 Shield massacre, where the army killed hundreds in Zaria, set the tone for his disregard for human life. Security operatives paraded suspects publicly, violating their right to fair trial, while the EFC humiliated youth in Yahoo Boy hunt without conviction. Buhari's government didn't just bend the law, it broke it over and over. Buhari's biggest selling point was his anti-corruption crusade. He called himself Mr. Honesty, but his presidency was a betrayal of that image. Corruption didn't just survive under him, it thrived. Nigerians' ranking on the Corruption Perception Index worsened, hitting 150 out of 180 countries by 2020. Buhari's neglect of education and health was criminal. By 2023, 10.5 million children were out of school, and the education budget was slashed in half. ASU strikes cripple universities, with lecturers unpaid for months. Healthcare was a joke. Nigeria had one doctor for every 9,000 people, down from one for 4,000 in 2015. Buhari himself spent months in London hospitals, hiding his illness, while Nigerians died in crumbling clinics. His leadership was absent. He took 6 months to form a cabinet in 2015, earning the nickname Baba Go Slow. He delegated everything, disappearing for a long stretch, often to London, leaving Nigeria leaderless. Even his wife criticized his government, and he infamously said she belonged in the kitchen. Buhari aloofness wasn't just incompetence, it was abandonment. Muhammadu Buhari presidency was a tragedy. It was never meant to happen. He took a nation brimming with potential and left it poorer, less secure, and buried in debt. His economic mismanagement turned Nigeria into the world's poverty capital. His security failures let violence fester, costing thousands of lives. His borrowing spree shackled future generations. His human rights abuse crushed dissent and silenced the press. And his anti-corruption talk was just hot air, masking a corrupt system he enabled. Buhari squandered Nigerians' goodwill and betrayed his people. He wasn't the savior Nigerians hoped for. He was their worst nightmare. And as he retired to his farm in Daura in 2023, he left behind a country in tatters, a legacy of failure, and that will take years to undo. History won't be kind to Buhari, and it shouldn't be. He had his chance, and he blew it spectacularly. And now he's gone, and you want to force millions of Nigerians that experience this horrible leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari to mourn him, to attend his burial. No, they will not. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.